The Neurocast from Truthsayers. Simon Stapleton talks with Jeff Fox from Aon about new methods being used in business to gather data.
Hi Jeff, how is behavioural science being used in your business and business in general, and really what's behind that?
It's a really good question. It's probably quite recent for us at Aon. It's been a development that's come in over the last sort of year or two. Now, clearly, behavioural science isn't new. It's established. It's been out there in the consumer space for quite some time. But we've seen a real uptick in demand from our clients to want to explore how to use the concepts that sit within it more for their businesses, to use it to understand more about how they can make their benefits more efficient. And really optimize sort of employee experience. So it's been a really sort of recent development for us in the workplace, and it's seeped into the workplace, and clients have been proactive in bringing it to our attention. So we've really had to sort of respond to that need and get ahead of it and start to think about how we can operationalize behavioral science in the workplace. We've really been locked into a very traditional way of obtaining these sort of metrics. So essentially, we've been asking people to comment on how they think about how they feel. And I think that's a real contradiction in terms. The minute that happens, we see a whole host of issues with the data that we've then been using to then base really crucial decisions upon, which can cost organizations lots of money, and that's misdirected spend.
It wasn't that long ago when behavioural science and those kind of topics were really for people in white coats and with clipboards, and I think the business was skeptical of those kind of methods when applying it to enterprises. But it feels, particularly over the last 10 years, things have changed, and actually leaders are more braver or courageous in looking at these methods.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a greater need for data. There's a greater need for analytics when it comes to people. And increasingly at the C-suite level, there's a demand for metrics that show a demonstrable return on investment. And so what's always been really hard in this space that I operate is just to show those metrics, to bring that to the table and show those as evidence that can then be used to base decisions upon. And I think that the interest in behavioural science has moved on from that more academic realm into the business place, because people can see that it gives you a way to measure some of these vaguer concepts, such as how people feel, which is really key, but people haven't really wanted to go anywhere near, because you just can't show the evidence. But behavioural science gives you a way to do that. And the clever business leaders that we work with have really cottoned onto that. And they can then see that golden thread, if you like, from what is happening in their business, the things that they can do to impact positively within their business, and then show the evidence between the two. I think behavioural science is a really big part of that equation.
How are methods, implicit methods like Truthsayers Neurotech, helping with that?
Neurotech and the data that then gives us and on behalf of our clients, it's that laser vision, if you like, on the accuracy of the data, the real truth behind the reality. I know a lot of people talk about the iceberg, but for us, it's a really powerful anecdote. The below the surface line, what is really going on? And for us, the Neurotech tool plugs in really well to all of the things that we can help our clients with, but really address that traditional problem, really help that contradiction in terms, so you get to the essence of how people feel, and then on which you can base your recommendations that organizations can then be surer that they are really targeting the real issues. And it's about maximizing the spend, because these initiatives can cost organizations lots of money and take up a lot of time, and lead to situations where employees stop feeling that it really matters to tell you how they feel, because they don't see the right outcome. Nothing really changes. And from our experiences so far with Neurotech, we are definitely seeing better insights and more accurate recommendations that we can then make in terms of our solutions. So that's really what it comes down to for us from an Aon perspective.